Hello, hello. My name is Deanne Battle, and this is the Composite. We are in season 4, episode 9, I believe. All right. So first of all, happy Independence Day. Got my clip art on. All right. And I think I've addressed this before. Sometimes people will choose one or the other to celebrate, Juneteenth or Independence Day. I choose both. I'm entitled to both. So, hence this. All right. So, listen, this is going to be a shorter broadcast because of this little guy right here. I had a beer and I haven't eaten. I ate this morning, but I haven't eaten lunch, so it's hitting me hard. And so what that means is the book giveaway I wanted to do, we're going to save that for next episode when I have more administrative capabilities, okay? So it's a holiday. I don't have a cookout to go to, so I am celebrating alone. All right. What did I want to start with first? Oh, yeah. Okay, so, political stuff quickly. So Biden is not going to consider dropping out, and we are going to lose. I don't mean a political party or, a faction, an ideology. We as a nation are going to lose. So there's that. But here's the thing. I will take the ashes of this country and I'll put it in a vial. And I'll put that vial around my neck, circa Angelina Jolie, and I'll just be wearing it. So that's where we are with things. This whole situation is going to incinerate, and we'll just see what happens because Biden won't step down. C'est la vie. And for the folks who wanted to pull Michelle out of the woodwork, leave Michelle alone. This country was so cruel to that woman. Oh my gosh, look at her arms. They're so muscular and masculine. She's not elegant. She's not a first lady, blah, blah, blah. People forget they said that shit. Now they're like, hey, Michelle, if you run, you'll beat Trump. No. Michelle is living her best life. Her children are grown. Her husband is retired. So you're just going to have to eat this, whatever this is going to be. We're just going to have to eat it. All right? That's what it is. Does that mean, I'm pro-anti-Michelle? No. It just means that when, we have this idea, right, that first impressions are important. So her first impression of the United States as she ascended to the role of First Lady was not good. She was gracious, she was kind, and she was very contained. And you didn't appreciate it when she was First Lady. So why would she run for president? People need to stop with this bullshit. And I think it's emerging because people are like, well, if we're honest, most people don't really care for Kamala Harris as a person and as a vice president. And so it's like, oh, well, but if we pull Harris, we need a black woman. Michelle, no. Stop using black women to optically clean up shit. That's fucked up. So we're in a particular era right now in this country. Don't bring a black woman in to try to clean it up. And I'm not saying it's a serious consideration, but, I've been watching the news over the last couple of days and, it's credible news outlets are kind of floating her name. So when I hear her name in credible again, for this time period, credible news outlets, I'm like, okay, so maybe it's not a serious idea, but they want to see if they can get traction. And I'm not going to give that traction. Leave Michelle Obama alone. She's done her time in the White House penitentiary. So we are going to have to find another way forward because Joseph Robinette Biden will not step down. So, but you know what? To be fair, he might be afraid to step down. He might break a hip. So okay. Yeah, he's kind of like, oh, I don't know what happens if I step down from this. I might not make it. Okay. That's the only allowance that I'll grant here. But here's the thing, yet again. This might be our last July 4th. And not to be hyperbolic, because people are like, oh, if you don't elect Biden, it's the end of democracy. So democracy ended before that, right? Because if he's my only choice, then democracy is already over. So that's a thing. But, just in terms of freedom of expression, this broadcast, all of this, it might be the last Independence Day that we have. So enjoy it. Have an extra hot dog, an extra hamburger, an extra beer. All right. Chill out. All right. Because this is a major dumpster fire. Okay. So other things that I wanted to talk to you about today. So like I mentioned, the book giveaway, I'll do that next episode when I'm more cogent. And then, so last night, I did watch a little bit of TV, a lot of TV. I caught up on House of the Dragon, and I actually watched the first episode of season 2 of Interview with a Vampire. They've got Game of Thrones alum Jacob Anderson, and I watched the first season, and the first season was good. And so I'll start there because I've already gone into this direction. They changed Claudia's. Oh, wow. Nothing against the young lady that's playing Claudia now, but I believe her name's Bailey Bass, I believe, who was the Claudia first season of Interview with a Vampire. And she had all of those other actors fighting for their lives in every single scene. She was amazing. She needs her own show. So I was just kind of like, oh, they changed the Claudia, and I was a little disappointed by that. But nevertheless, season 2, that first episode, it was good-ish. My issue with that show in the first season, was how they handled the racial dynamics. Lestat was kind of like, ooh, I'm French, I cannot be racist. And it's like, are you kidding me? You are number 2 or number 3 of all the colonizers as a nation. What do you mean you can't be racist? It was just really weird how they approached it. I'd have to go back and see which episode and which scene. But I was just like, okay, yeah, I don't, So I didn't have a problem with them making Louis black, but I'm just like, if he's black, you have to deal, right, with the historical realities as they present themselves at the time. And I felt like there were a lot of missteps with that, to be honest. Now, when we go to season 2, that first episode, it was a little more subtle. I felt like it was handled a little bit better because, not as a spoiler, but at some point they're in the Ukraine and the guy says, oh, I'm supposed to believe you're black Ukrainians. I was like, okay, so now, we're dealing with the issues at hand because, it's like when you change the race of a character, because you want to broaden the perspective of the universe or for whatever reason, it's not necessarily that I have a problem with, but it's just that if you change the race, really deal with the issues around that. Don't just pretend like, oh, he can walk through Europe and she can walk through Europe just as a European. No, we know that's not the case in whether it's 1911 or 2024. That's never been the case. So it seems like they'll work on that a little bit more. And I think the whole season is up, so I'll continue to watch it and, report back. But, oh, I missed the Claudia that they had. Low key, her Claudia was better than Kirsten Dunst. And Kirsten Dunst was excellent in the original film Interview with a Vampire. I love Anne Rice. Now, in terms of the novels, I prefer the Mayfair Witch novels versus the Interview with a Vampire novels. But nevertheless, when we're talking about the cinematic expressions of her work, Kirsten Dunst, excellent, really excellent. But the woman who played Claudia in the first season of the show, really, really great work. So, for whatever reason, they had to switch it up. I don't know if she had personal conflicts or whatever, but I was just like, I was really, looking to see, like, okay, so is this a spoiler? Okay, so Lestat is dead. How does she navigate, right, this space where essentially Louis and Lestat are her fathers? And so, okay, so now one of your fathers is dead. Like, how do you deal with that? And how do you deal with being in this child's body when you are a grown, 100-plus-year-old woman? And so I think the actress from the first season really, played in that space of conflict, of internal conflict, really, really well. And so, but the actress that they had in that first episode of season 2, she's good. She's good. I don't have any complaints or anything to say, but it's just like when you've seen, like, okay, here's what this other person can do. Because really, the other actors, you can see in their eyes, they're like, oh, when do I get my lines in or whatever. She was like a bull in a china shop, and they were just like, trying to keep up. I like that. I like when, thespians require each other to be present and not just phone it in, especially in film. I mean, you see that a little less in theater, to be honest, because it's live. But, in film, it's like, oh, okay, well, this is my first take, maybe a warm up or whatever. No, you couldn't warm up with, again, Bailey Bass, I think that's her name. You couldn't warm up. It's like, you got to be ready. You got to be ready to go. So we'll see what else she has coming up. And, again, season 2, the first episode was good. I'll keep watching it. I don't have any complaints. Now, House of the Dragon, season 2, episode 3. So I did see people posting stuff online that they were unhappy with a particular element. There will be spoilers. I'll put that, in the comments. It didn't hit me as hard. All right. So the thing people were complaining about that I saw on Facebook and stuff was Rhaenyra, disguising herself and really going to Alicent and like asking her if they could like broker some sort of deal. People were like, oh, like this is terrible. She wouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. Was it great? No. But I have to say, House of the Dragon, it's a better show than Game of Thrones. It is. I know there are probably super fans out there who will be like, what? What do you mean? But, when I'm watching this type of program, I'm interested in the political intrigue, the character development. And one thing that I've noticed about House of the Dragon is that they give more close-ups so you can see the actor's thought process while they're in character. And so what I noticed is season 1, those first 3 episodes, I was just kind of like, because they were slow. But then I realized, oh, okay, they're giving you more of the interior life of the character, so that way when they make certain decisions, it makes more sense. And so what do I mean by that? So if we're looking at season 2, episode 3, with Alicent and Rhaenyra, that scene, I think for Rhaenyra, it wasn't just about like, oh, I want to see if I can make a deal. She knew what it took for her father to, put his, word or put his backing behind her as queen. And so in her mind, she's like, well, how could he take that away? Like, my father loves me. Like, what's going on? She needed to know, like, what did I do to lose his confidence? And what she realizes in that scene is that she did not lose his confidence. Alicent is not looking at the situation clearly, for a variety of reasons. Some that are her fault, but some, I don't blame her for. But she needed that level of clarity before she proceeded, because if she felt like her father took away his blessing posthumously, then there would be a level of insecurity in her as a sovereign. And so she just needed that confirmation. So, but the only reason that I knew that is I could see like the actor making that decision. Game of Thrones, So did they have moments like that? Occasionally. But the thing is that because it's focused on so many houses and so many different families and so many different subplots and so many penises and vaginas flying around and so much gore and blood and so many of these big moments, the red wedding and stuff, like, even though they're very memorable and very good, they don't really show you a character making a decision. And you saw with Rhaenyra and Alicent, you saw her within herself saying, oh, okay, no, nothing has changed, right? And so I'm looking forward to that next episode to see what happens. And so I'm just bringing this up because I was not as put out, let's say, that, she went to Alicent and was trying to talk to her, because at the end of the day, she needed confirmation, like, that her father, again, from whatever spirit realm he was in, that he still supported her, and she was able to get that. And then what I really liked about that episode is you have Rhaenys, Rhaena, and Baela. As that's really Rhaenyra's council, right? Those 3 women, those Valerian, Targaryen women who are really supporting her in her effort to get her crown back. And I think both series, it's very easy to get caught up in, like, who's supposed to be king or queen, like, who's quote unquote in charge. But it's really the Hodors of the series that make it work. The people that are loyal, the people that do their part, even, the people that do their part even when it's to possibly their detriment, the people that stay focused on the prize. And so what you saw in this episode is that these 3 women, they were playing their part. And, Rhaenys has no reason to be loyal to Rhaenyra, right? Why? She thinks that she killed her son and she usurped her crown, right? Rhaenys is the queen that never was. And so, but she really plays her part and she advises her, and her granddaughters, will defend your children, will defend your dragon eggs, will defend your crown. And it's just so interesting to contrast that with her actual council, who are just, these older, crusty, rusty guys. Let's bring this back. Crusty, rusty guys who you want to run the country. And you can see the ways in which Rhaenyra is trying to walk a line between, okay, I respect their opinion to a certain extent, but then I'm going to go my own way and lead in my own way. And so I think the support of those women really make that happen. And that's why it's a better show, because it's like, yes, you have science fiction. Oh, and this is another thing too. The dragons are better. What the hell? I was just like, my TV is kind of old. And so it's like, I don't, when stuff is in 4K and stuff, I don't necessarily get all of the pixelation correct. And I'm looking and I'm like, do the dragons look better here? I don't know. It's like, how is it you have better dragons, better character development, a clearer plot line? I'm like, okay, so this, I conceded. And when was this where it happened? So again, a spoiler. So I think that moment when what's his name, he's strong, he's from the strong family, but he's like the creepy dude with the foot fetish. He comes to Aegon and he's like, listen, man, like, you don't really want to be out there, your mom is trying to set you up and da 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 da. And then Aegon goes, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I don't want to be out there. It was that moment, and I'm sitting there looking at it, and I said, okay, this is a better show. It's just more plausible. Again, even within a science fiction or fantasy, maybe, yes, a fantasy universe, it's more plausible that he would get into his head and say, and play on his insecurities in order to get him to like stay back. So that was cool. I'm just looking at my notes here. Okay, so since I'm not doing the book giveaway, that was going to take probably like 20 minutes by itself. I have a lot of books. It's really hard for me to turn down free books. But I'm in the process of moving by the end of the month. And so I'm like, okay, realistically, I would read these, but just not right now. So maybe someone else could enjoy them. So I'll do that next episode. Oh, and there was an article I wanted to bring to you about like overstimulation via social media, but I forgot to pull that up. Wah, wah. All right, what I think I'll do is just wrap up early. Let me see what the poems of the day are. Okay, close. Okay, just getting these to load. Okay, so the first poem is from the Poetry Foundation, and it's by the poet Ada Limón, and it's called A New National Anthem. All right, a new national anthem. The truth is, I've never cared for the national anthem. If you think about it, it's not a good song. Too high for most of us with the rocket's red glare. And then there are the bombs. Always, always, there is war and bombs. Once I sang it at homecoming and threw even the tenacious high school band off key. But the song didn't mean anything, just a call to the field, something to get through before the pummeling of youth. And what of the stanzas we never sing, the third that mentions no refuge could save the hireling and the slave? Perhaps the truth is, every song of this country has an unsung third stanza. Ooh. Say that again. Every song of this country has an unsung third stanza, something brutal snaking underneath us as we blindly sing the high notes with a beer with a beer sloshing in the stands, hoping our team wins. Don't get me wrong, I do like the flag, how it undulates in the wind like water, elemental, and best when it's humbled, brought to its knees, clung to by someone who has lost everything. When it is not a weapon, when it flickers, when it folds up so perfectly, you can keep it until it's needed, until you can love it again, until the song in your mouth feels like sustenance, a song where the notes are sung by even the ageless woods, the short grass plains, the Red River Gorge, the fistful of land left unpoisoned, that song that's our birthright, that's sung in silence when it's too hard to go on, that sounds like someone's rough fingers weaving into another's, that sounds like a match being lit in an endless cave, the song that says my bones are your bones and your bones are my bones, and isn't that enough? Wow. Okay. So visually, so basically, it's going to be hard to visualize here, but this all where my fingers are, that's essentially all one sentence with commas. So I would love to hear the poet read that one. Thank you, Ada Limón. And this next and last one is from poets.org, and the poet's name is Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum, all right? And it's called Aubade for the Habana Inn. Okay. All right, so this is Aubade. What is an Aubade? Let me look that up so I know what pretend to know at least what I'm talking about. Oh, a poem or a piece of music appropriate to the dawn or early morning. Oh, okay. You learn something new every day. That's what I enjoy about being an English teacher, about being someone that loves literature. You'll see a word or a phrase or an image, and then you want to learn more, all right? So this is Aubade for the Habana Inn. Before adolescence reached me each morning, I marveled past the Habana Inn, a degenerate haven hidden plainly off Route 66, my cheeks clenched as I caught in the rear view oblique glimpses of men, their beards groomed to signal discretion. 39th and Penn, a revolving sleuth of leathered pickups, hot rods in cruise control. I numbered plates, skipping town from out of state as we got groceries at what was Homeland, which once was Safeway, but now is Goodwill. Wow. Let me read that sentence again. I numbered plates, skipping town from out of state as we got groceries at what was Homeland, which was once Safeway, but now is Goodwill. Brahms' banana split as alibi. I tracked the bears shuffling by. I swore I'd gussy up brave mountaintops when I came of age, embraced my guts. Daddies and sissies alike pilgrimage toward the obvious, the Village, Boys Town, P-Town, WeHo, any Christopher Street. I exhausted every imaginable vulgarity stewing beyond the block. Cowboys, truckers, pastors, oh my. Had I snuck a peek, unveiled the skirt, I'd find naught but night, damp Technicolor carpets, hot tub swimmers, drapes, finished raw, ultraviolet, ripe for new owners, an LA lift to keep the grit, strip the must, and redevelop. No longer is the Habana. I mourn each time a classic logo debuts a thin sans serif makeover. The pylon sunrise marking the resort now absent from the I-44 skyline. Maybe it's better to clean up, chlorinate the pool more regular. I wouldn't know. I'm still blue in the face, staring out the dash, yearning for first light, ignorant of what I lost without ever coming in. Okay. An Aubad. So I've got access to a new type of poem now. All right. So enjoy your holiday. Hopefully you're having good barbecue, because that's important. Not parboiled, not lightly seasoned, but good barbecue. And stay safe. Have a good weekend. And I might go live Sunday or Tuesday, depending. I'll post the schedule. And so this has been The Composite. I'm still Deanne Battle. Thank you for joining us. Take care.